Hello, welcome back to Styles and Smiles podcast crew. This is a podcast about new age styles, and I bring in an expert to explain. So today's topic is hairstyles and the meaning. So I'll let you take it off and tell us who you are and where you're from and how you got into the business.
Hi, my name is Brandi Picardo. I own Bella Rose Hair Artistry here in Logansport, Indiana. And I got into the business because I actually bought a building that had a salon in it. So then I
That's amazing. That's amazing. What like when you started hair? What do you think is the most difficult part about learning to the different hairstyles and different hair textures to perfecting your profession?
What I found that was difficult is there is not a lot of education in textured hair. So even in the beauty school that I went to, and even though I have been only out of school for about 4.5 years, even then I noticed that the school had while it did educate with textured hair, it didn't have as much education, and I was surprised because 60 to 70% of the entire world has some type of texture.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I just want to, because this is my big thing on hair and how I know about my hair as African American. I just want to talk and tap into your knowledge of history about hairstyles and the culture and what they mean.
Okay.
So if you just want to explain with either your culture or the best one that you know the best, and then I'll go to what I know about mine.
With cultural, there's so many different things, and just when you start deep diving, we'll use braids. Um, that has been known to many cultures, the African American culture, the Vikings, Latinos, just different types of ribbons put in the hair for different types of meaning. Um, Hair has always been very expressive in most cultures. It's very important, and it's the crown that you wear on your head.
That's very funny because when I did my project last year on the African American like culture as a whole, I had used a hair segment in mine where I did research on the African American hair culture, and I had learned that back in the day in the slave times they had used braids as patterns for escape routes in the hair,
Hmm.
which I felt was really touchful. And I also looked through. I had a music segment. A clothing segment, hair segment, just for the African American culture, and under my music segment, I have found myself tapping into simultaneously the culture segment through the hair that they would say comments in the songs. Like I want to say it was, I want to say it was Whitney Houston that had said, "Your hair is the crown that you wear on your head," and it was like without our hair, without our lovely crown, the past that we're told wouldn't be found basically or some it was something like that in the song, and I felt it really heart touching. So that just meant a lot to that, like the hair connects to multiple aspects of everyone's culture. It's not just certain like a specific thing. It's like it
Hmm.
taps into almost everything once you think about it in the ways through it. um Another thing I want to know is what do you specialize in? Like what do you prefer if you could have the perfect client to work on, and what would you look at, and what would you want to do?
So, me particularly, as a salon owner, you have to be very versatile. You have to be very um, able to do multiple things. But if I could be like, hey, this is what I really, really like, I'm very creative, very artistic. I love doing vivid hair color. Um, I like seeing a pattern or a rainbow and then transferring that onto your hair as a canvas. That's something that I like. But what I know that we need here is more education on textured hair.
Yeah, I see that because so obviously any type of hair artist or hairstylist is an artist. So anything like within that segment is an artist, and anyone's hair or head crown is a canvas. But I feel like with what you just explained, you take the actual art aspect of like the bright colors and the beautiful look texture, and you like to place it on the canvas, which mixes both. And I find that really interesting and touching. So, what do you find the most difficult hair to work on, or most difficult repairment, or like
So For me, and again, comes back to education, no hair is difficult to work on if you're teaching your client how to take care of their hair and do it correctly. But again, with the lack of knowledge, I find that I hear people are like, textured hair is hard to work with, it's hard to handle. But if you don't know how to handle it or what products to use or how to care for it, then it makes it harder. In reality, I mean curly hair or textured hair, wavy hair, because when I say textured, it's not just your textured hair, it's any hair that has a wave pattern. So unless it's straight, it is textured. It has some type of texture. And like I said, I don't understand why we don't have more education on it, because 60 to 70% of people in the entire world have some type of texture, right? Not
Yeah.
straight hair isn't the most found
Yeah.
hair type texture. Um, but people don't know how to care for the hair, so then they think it's difficult and hard to work with. And that's one thing I like about the salon is we educate people on using the correct products and how to care for the hair. And then it's just as easy as working on straight hair.
That's that's surprising because I would have thought like something like my hair, because I have really thick textured curly, like not like nappy-ish hair. I would think it's really hard to work on, but also I don't really know. That's what I wanted to come to you about, because I wanted to come get a cleaning and to take care of it and then learn about it. So I didn't know that aspect.
I'll
But
give you a perfect example of something that will be eye opening. To braid your hair, because it is coarse, once I detangle it, once it's been moisturized, it's easier to braid because it stays where I place it. Soft hair, straight hair, harder to braid. It's soft, it moves, it won't stand where I place it, it won't hold a comb if I place it in there. It's much harder, much more difficult in reality to work with. But again, depending on the type of style that you want. So in that aspect, if you or I were to be sitting in someone's chair and wanted braids, your hair would be easier to braid than mine.
that's insane. Like I would never think of that. Like you, because people always think of the opposite about it, which is like another thing about just knowing, like just learning. Because I feel like when I did that segment in my old project about the just, I learned about more hair than just African American. I tapped into the side, and that's what made me want to do this podcast, because I just felt like it was so. There's so much more behind it than what we actually see or what we know. So like it has more meaning. It has more. Like a lot of people, like to me personally, my hair is my personality. Like I love my hair. Like nappy morning hair, I don't I my hair is my hair, so like I rock it. But like without my hair, I don't know what I would do, because like if I had waved hair or like a buzz cut or like waves, I wouldn't know like how I would style it or what I would wear. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like my hair fits my attire, so everyone's hair fits them. But with behind hair, I feel like there's a different story, like with people say like dandruff and stuff like that. What just for like educational purposes, what is your best advice to, like, if you wash and like and condition your hair like at the proper times, you don't overdo it or underdo it, like, but you still just gain dandruff from a dry scalp, like how to prevent?
So there is so much that, and it's a huge, huge array of information. But for me, it's client specific, right? So I can't say for one and the other. Just because two people have textured hair doesn't mean that they have the same type of texture or the same type of issues. But I find, and this is a kind of general answer to your question, is that one, maintaining your scalp health. So making sure that you're keeping your hair cleansed and using the right products for your hair type and texture. Sometimes people see that they have curly hair and they think it's frizzy, so they use products that are maybe a little too heavy for their type of hair, and then they develop a cast of product on their scalp, which then doesn't allow it to breathe. And then they get dandruff or they get dry skin or they have a reaction. Um, there's a lot of, again, and it leads me back to the lack of education on textured hair. It's knowing what products to use, knowing how often to shampoo, knowing what is good for your type of hair type and texture. And sometimes a lot of individuals get confused because obviously I have long, straight hair and you have more textured, coarse hair. Doesn't mean your hair is any unhealthier than mine or mine's more healthy. We have a different texture. And I think that when people see that hair is curly or they say frizzy, they think it's unhealthy. Again, that is the texture. It's not about the health, it's about the texture. And so people get confused with that. And again, lack of education. We need more knowledge.
Okay, I have a question about like the profession itself as a hairstylist. What are common mistakes or some mistakes that you have commonly seen in hairstylists that they make, like new hairstylists make?
Common mistakes that I see new hairstylists make, they're afraid to ask questions. They're afraid to ask. They want to. There's a saying that goes into school, and I don't necessarily know if I like it. It's fake it till you make it. So it's kind of act like you have confidence and just do it until you do. And where I do understand that, sometimes you do got to fake it till you make it. If you don't know, ask. If you if the person you're asking doesn't know, you can find out. We're in a generation now that everybody has technology right here at their fingertips.
Right.
So you can find out relatively quickly. Do not do something that you do not know. And if you don't know, ask.
That is big because I would hate to have like my hair messed up because you just tried to do something and you didn't really know. So that makes sense. But what advice would you give someone today if they wanted to go into the hair industry or hair profession and go to beauty school or cosmetology school or anything like that? Like, what advice would you stick them with that would help them carry them through that profession if times are hard and stuff like that?
I would say be mindful in the school that you choose. Try to choose a school that's going to fit your needs. Do your research before you're going to spend that kind of money and invest that kind of time. Make sure that the things that you're wanting to learn and the goals that you're trying to achieve align with that same school. And then the number one thing that I see all the time is stylists will graduate from beauty school, they will work in a salon, and they stop. In this industry, you have to continue your education. There are always new trends, there are always new breakthroughs, there's always new product launches. You have to keep up.
Yeah, that makes sense because I can tell that you keep up because obviously I know you on a more personal level. So I have come around you and you've seen all types of different hairstyles on me and all types of different textures of my hair and when it's combed out or when it's not. So and you've always have given me tips and new products that have launched or new hairstyles that you think would fit me. So staying updated is definitely very mindful of a hairstylist. Um, but what would you tell new hairstylists today? Uh, like about confidence or like client communication.
Well, in my salon, and I don't know, in my salon, I always teach my stylist the art of a consultation. One, I can't do anything if I don't know anything, right? So I need to have a consultation with you, speak to you on what your concerns are about your hair, what your goal is with your hair, and then create the plan to achieve and get you to where you want to be. Because sometimes people come and they want, let's just say, platinum blonde hair, but they've had black hair dye on their hair. It's not as easy as just putting some bleach on the hair, lifting it up, and you're well on your way to platinum. There are more steps. So if I can understand where you want to be, I can tell you how to get there.
So just education. Like the hair industry is just a big ball of like just needing to know. So you just need to have the education behind it so you know how to take care of it if something happens or what to say to a stylist if you're getting your hair done or what to say to a client if you are a stylist. So education does does come around. But let's talk about business and branding in the hair industry. What do you do that keeps your clients entertained and keeps coming back? Obviously, you obviously have your good work. I've seen your work. It's good work. But what do you like? How do you keep your clients attracted and loyal and Like, how do you brand your business to what it is now? Because honestly, your business is known all over our town and out of other towns. So,
So for me, I think that when I started creating the business and my goals, I really went off of what I would want, how I want to be treated if I was in that type of environment. If I'm walking into a salon, what would I want? And what I want is you to be down to earth, but I want you to be honest with me. I want you to tell me because if I don't know, I'm coming to you and I expect you to, educate me. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I have done is when you come into my chair, it is one entertaining, we're talking, I pay attention to my clients, right? I'm asking you. I've had people say I've never had a consultation. I said, well, how did the stylist know what you wanted then? And they're like, well, I don't know. And so again, I'm talking to you. When you get your hair done, depending on what you get, let's just say hypothetically you came in, you got your hair colored. I'm like, well, what shampoo do you use? You tell me Head and Shoulders, I'm going to tell you probably shouldn't use it. It has zinc oxide and it's going to pull your color out. It's going to fade fast. That color is not going to last. And you're going to be like, well, thank you, because I just invested all this money
mm-hmm.
in my hair. I don't want to go home and have that color fall out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And people appreciate that. And so I think that with a combination of educating you on what you need to do and being mindful, because that's how I'd want to be treated if I'm spending that kind of money. I want to know what I need to do to maintain this. And I always say this, my phrase in the salon, if you're going to invest your time and money into me, I'm going to invest my knowledge and technique into you.
Me personally, I feel like that's going to be an amazing way to end this episode. And I want to thank you, and I appreciate you for coming in and giving us and the whole school and everybody that will listen to this podcast, because this will be published. I will let you know where it's published and give you it, so you can publish it yourself if you want to. And your huge education. That's what hair is. Hair. That's what hair community is. It's education. So thank you for listening to the Styles and Smiles podcast, and come back for the next episode.